We previously thought that interest rates would peak at 4.6% from the RBA, so you add a couple of percentage points on for a mortgage. Now we really think they've probably stopped. So we think the Reserve Bank will take an extended pause from here. They seem pretty optimistic about unit labour costs, which is just a fancy word that means how much it costs to provide stuff, but the worker side of things. It's not quite wages, it's a bit of wages and productivity. They're also looking out into the world and seeing that consumers are responding to interest rate hikes, and we're seeing that in our ANZ data as well. People are really slowing down. And they're also looking at the inflation data itself and saying, this is coming down enough for us. We're just going to pause it at 4.1. Well, they didn't say pause it at 4.1. That's what I'm saying. But we think that on the balance of what they've done lately and the forward indicators for the labour market and consumer spending, that we may not need to see another hike from here.
Right, okay, because Philip Lowe in his speech last week, he did sort of appear to be more dovish, I think, than we'd heard him. He was still leaving room there for it to go up. You reckon now pause at 4.1 for the cash rate. When might people expect to see it go down, or is that too early to ask?
So the good news is we think that it's very unlikely to go up at least much from here, but the bad news is it's not going to come down very quickly either. The less they hike it up, the more slowly they have to pull it down at the end, because we need a longer period at these restrictive rates, so rates that are actively slowing us down. Anyone with a mortgage or a rental knows that they are being actively slowed down. We need that for further time for the inflation to come right back down, because if they cut early, we might see inflation do this, and that's the last thing we want. That's what happens when you get unemployment really high, people can't afford food. We hate that. So we want to see it come down slowly enough that we don't stuff up the labour market too much, but fast enough that we don't get it stuck at too high a point, which can create long-term problems.
Okay, and just quickly, you got a little bit of new consumer spending data in from ANZ. You monitor that closely. You're saying that you're seeing people really start to slow down.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a sugar hit for the end of financial year sales, but it just straight went back to normal. And by normal, what I mean is a pretty weak year. Our forecasts are that household consumption will go sharply backwards per person this year. So everyone's going to be having to buy less and do less because of the high interest rates, higher electricity prices and higher housing costs.